Yo, what is up? How you guys doing today? So I have another Unturned update for you guys, and that is 3.17.7.0. And in this update, there's a lot of additions, improvements, tweaks, and fixes. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first addition that we have on this list is the new Walkie Talkie. Now with these Walkie Talkies, you guys are able to communicate with other players as long as, it's a multiplayer server. But you could communicate with them all the way across the map. They don't have to be like right next to you just for regular area chat. But as long as they have a walkie-talkie on hand, you can communicate with them across the map. Now, currently, as I'm making this video, walkie-talkies are kind of broken, so I'm unable to actually test it and show it for you guys. That including voice chat, because, voice chat just doesn't want to work anymore. Now, the next thing about this is it is on all frequencies, so basically meaning if your friend has a walkie-talkie, you have a walkie-talkie, and another player has a walkie-talkie, that other player is able to intercept your call. Like, he's going to be able to hear everything that you guys are saying. These walkie-talkies do not have frequencies that you can set yet, but sooner or later in the future they will, as Nelson says in this update post. But yeah, other than that, it's a pretty cool update. I can't wait to actually test this out once the hotfix comes out. And yeah, let's go to move on to the next thing. There's also the added ability to pop out editor windows and keep in full screen. There's also a new upgraded translation system, which Nelson wrote at the very bottom of the update post. So basically what he said was, I've written a replacement for the localization system, which is now in place for the new editor and will be phased in over time. It solves the main issue with the old system. It can be changed at runtime. Example, menu option to swap languages, right now language terminal command. Defaults to Steam language falls back to English, saves the most recently used non-English setting onto the Steam cloud. And assets will no longer have individual translation files, rather one main file per language per project. For example, in the future, all gun names could be easily translated. File format is structured and much nicer, should be straightforward to add a translation editor in the future. Tokens are versioned so that the translator can be alerted when string has been updated. Servers know the language of all players so that the server-side messages can be translated for each client. And client loads English in selected language. Server loads all languages. There was also added basic visuals for selection and terrain brush tools. Another addition as well is for the Devkit, and that is added new undo/redo system. We also have 9 new curated workshop items, or gun skins. So let's go ahead and start naming them off. We have the Akalia Hawkhound, Combatia Schofield, Dragon Blaster Dragonfang, Dura Bulldog, Element A Night Raider, Fiesta Og, Infected Zubeknikov, Fantok Zubeknikov, and last but not least, the Space R77 Heartbreaker. Now, if you guys would like to purchase these workshop created skins, I will have the link to the stockpile down in the description down below, and then all you guys have to do is click on the new tab once you get there. Now, once you're on the new tab, you guys are actually able to, purchase like anything on the little stockpile or workshop, as long as you guys are signed into your Steam account. So make sure you sign into your Steam account first, and then you guys can go ahead and go on with your purchase. For the improvements, there's also improved editor to save default window layout and menu for saving/loading. Now, I'm assuming it was, talking about one of the additions, which was added the ability to pop out windows or editor windows and keep in full screen. So basically, when you pop out those windows, move them around, and you save it, and you go back into the editor, they should be in the same spots. That's what I think it's saying. I don't completely know if I'm wrong. Please correct me, guys, in the comments. But yeah, let's go to move on to the next improvement, and that is improved debug lines intersecting objects to darken and checkboard. Now, for the tweaks, there's also tweaked command line to forward terminal commands, tweaked Steam messages to print in Steam terminal category, and tweaked terminal messages to be included in .log files. Now, for the fixes, we have fixed to render editor handles after image effects, fixed binding terminal to mouse buttons, fixed valid caliber range, fixed ambiguous gold error message, fixed resetting rain after joining arena server, and fixed viewport render texture scaling. Now, guys, I just want to let you know for the fixes, some of the stuff on here I actually do not know what means because, I've never ran into that problem. I've never had a problem with it. So if I'm not explaining it, that basically means that it's very confusing to me because I've never had a problem or a reason for some of these things to be fixed because I've never ran into that issue. Now, last week we were talking about the Battle Eye anti-cheat bans, and last week's bans were about 3,700 confirmed cheaters. Now, this week, if I'm correct, it is the second week, we have up to 7,400 confirmed cheaters banned from the game. Now, that's a lot of players considering Unturned's only average daily players Basically, you know, it's like the average players that are on most of the time, which is around like maybe like 30,000, 20,000, maybe, you know, in the middle somewhere. It's just around those numbers. Sometimes it spikes up. I don't think I've ever seen the game go up to 40,000 players, but 7,400. That's a pretty big number for, you know, Unturned's daily players, or, you know, like average player count. That is a lot of people like removed from this game, so the player count may be fluctuating here and there. But yeah, that's mainly because cheaters are being removed from the game, so, you know, that's not a problem at all. Now, in this update post, Nelson also talks about the Devkit. Now, currently, I am like a little bit confused as to what the Devkit is. From what I can understand, it is a remastered or revamped version of the original editor that we have, but there's going to be better like features and stuff put in it in the future. So, you know, it's still being worked on. That's what I'm understanding from this. I may be wrong, so if I am wrong, guys, put it down in the comments down below correcting me, and you know, I'll make sure to feature you guys in my next video for helping me. But yeah, so let's go ahead and read this. So Nelson wrote, I made quite a bit more progress on the editor revamp this week in a lot of different areas. The most visibly different being that you guys can load it up a level with the new editor now, and check out the terrain selection tools visuals. Now, you guys can press R to resize brush for now, much nicer than UI slider, and the movement is better suited for bigger maps, scrollable to change speed, as well as features like panning. My goals for the next week are to work on cleaning up these features, adding the new input system mainly for controller support, and starting to make the editor functional with asset editor, saving / loading, and some basic level editing. There were a lot of frustrated comments last week concerning this new focus on improvements, and while some of these improvements aren't so much fun to work on as, for example, new content, I really do believe it's the right thing to do to make the game so much better for the future. As you saw with the Hawaii teaser on Tuesday, even with me focused on the features, which will benefit the Hawaii map too in this case, there's still an awesome content on the way. So currently the Devkit editor, it has a lot less features than the regular editor, so if you guys are planning on editing any maps, make sure just to use the regular editor for right now until the Devkit editor has a lot more features. Of course, you guys can try and use the Devkit editor. I haven't got too familiar with it yet, mainly because there's not really that many features, or, you know, like instructions telling you how to really do anything, because when you load it up, there's really nothing that pops up on your screen. If you press escape, nothing happens. Basically nothing happens. I'm pretty sure you have to load your map in through the terminal when you're in the Devkit editor, but like I said, I'm really unfamiliar with that. So if you guys have tested out for yourselves, great. Anyways, guys, that looks like that's about it for this Unturned update. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.